Spoiler warning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to tell you off. It's confirmed that this Spider-Man, and this Spider-Man in the class of Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man are all relative to Tom Holland when it comes to their strength. Just from the fact Tom Holland's Spider-Man fought Tobey Maguire's Dr. Octopus. And after seeing the movie, I can confirm that this is actually the Dr. Octopus from the Tobey universe. It's evident when he said he's not Peter Parker, not Peter Parker he knows. Throughout the entire fight, Tom Holland was struggling to overpower him physically. Spoiler warning that Tom Holland hacked his suit and was able to get the advantage over Doc Ock, but in raw strength, they were pretty relative. But if we was to go off of raw feats, Tom Holland's Spider-Man obviously had lifted or did better inanimate object stuff than Doc Ock, but of course, right intent, it's over that, all that stuff. Right intent says they're relative, so they're relative. Can't really argue it, no matter who has better feet. That's just how they're meant to be. One can argue that the Tom Holland Peter has better tech though, because Doctor Strange gave him this device, but he didn't keep this device, obviously. It was a device used to trap the different beings. There wasn't in the right universe. Literally had points where he was overpowering Peter physically with his tentacles or arms. You guys already know how Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, and Dr. Octopus's battles have went in the past, so yeah, they're relative in strength, but this same Dr. Octopus was able to rival this Spider-Man in physical. Let's use common sense for a second, folks. I already know some people are going to say Tom Holland has better raw feats than Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. That is true, but based on the new movie, if Tobey was only a 13-ton range at best, and Tom Holland's range is 3,000 tons, how in the living heck is this Spider-Man's villains even a threat for him physically if the gap is that big? Let me tell you the answer. The gap isn't that big. It's as simple as that. If he was only 13-ton level and this Spider-Man was 3,000-ton level, how the heck is he restraining him so hard? It's not easy for him to bust out. So yes, it is true this feat right here is more of an impressive feat than this feat right here, but let me tell you something. This feat gets retconned into him being this strong because all of his villains was a threat to this Spider-Man, regardless of this feat being better or not. At this point, it's almost like the writers want this feat to go to him and to go to him because all their strengths ain't that far from each other at this point. So basically, this conversation is pointless. Versing them against each other is really pointless as well, unless you want to argue different semantics other than strength. Strength and speed, they're all the same. One could say Tom has the better tech, and that could be the way you can argue. But other than that, strength isn't that big of a difference, or neither of them. In the new movie, where Tom Holland's Spider-Man, there was even points in the movie where Goblin was laughing off punches from Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire's Green Goblin literally was rivaling this Tom Holland Spider-Man in strength. And you guys remember what happened when this Goblin tried to do this to Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. As strong as this Goblin was, even in comparison to Tom Holland, Tobey still was able to fight on par with them, get the advantage over in the fight. After a brutal fight, of course. I'm just saying. Same with Andrew, though. Not only did the Green Goblin from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man universe rival Tom Holland's Spider-Man the whole movie, Tom Holland's Spider-Man got bloodlusted and literally tried to use the Green Goblin's glider to pierce or stab the Green Goblin because he in pain from what the Green Goblin had did. It's literally proven that Tobey is strong enough to stop Tom Holland's Spider-Man when they both had a contest of strength basically here when Tom Holland was bloodlusted. This further proves that the Spider-Man have comparable strength to one another. It's just clear writing intent, guys. No denying it. But without further ado, let's get into this compilation of these different Spider-Man and how strong they are. Starting with Andrew, so stick around.
You guys know the story. After his parents' disappearance, he moved in with his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. After carelessly strolling through the Oscorp building, ended up stumbling upon some genetically modified spiders, which eventually bit him and he turned into the superhero known as Spider-Man. Common stuff. This Spider-Man debatably has one of the best speed feats of all time in the movies, but that's none of my business. What kind of voodoo are they doing to these spiders? Bit him on the back of the neck. Naturally, he can walk, crawl, and stick on any surfaces, as you can see right here. Crawls up a wall on this occasion. Even bullies cannot take the ball away from him. He doesn't even have the grip. The sticky nature is insane. And he can do stuff like that. Keyboards even stick to his finger. Are you kidding me? This is an intelligence feat because he doesn't have web just built into his DNA like the other Spider-Man from, Tobey Spider-Man, for example. He actually invented mechanical web so he can web people up. Strong webs, might I add. Uses these strong webs to web sling around New York. Here's a little quick lore on the web. It used to be a bio cable, which is 10 times stronger than steel. And it's manufactured by Oscorp, by the way. He's a tech nerd. Very smart. See what I mean? Webb is able to knock cops off their feet and is able to stop cars like that. It's literally able to stop little cars. Respect it. One can say he created webs that has similar strength to him. One could even say, he even made it to where they can negate electricity. See what I'm saying? Like, watch this. Oh, battle feet, tech feet. Learning of his newfound strength, overpowering humans with ease, mixed with spider scent. You see what I mean? One could say precognition, easy. Light work. None of these people are ready for him in skills. He fought a couple villains, but not many, throughout this series. Like characters like Lizard in this universe are strong like him and can throw cars. He tangled with Lizard and resisted his strength a few times, fight people on his level. He held a car from falling this one time with his raw strength. Catches a falling cop car like that. This seems to be casual. We don't know the limitations of him. He stops a bus from falling over, even caving in the ground. That strength. And pulls open a pressurized water tank with strength. Snaps rifles in two. Breaking through handcuffs is nothing. The guy can handstand on 2 fingers, dude. Are you kidding me? Regular humans are nothing to him. He was able to stop a gear from moving with his raw strength while fighting Harry Goblin. At the same time, strength feat. He has plenty of occasions of saving folk and just trolling folk. Easy. Look at the small little areas showing the agility, leaping. He just completely wraps them up really quick. In the combat, I mean, good lord, that's a lot of way up. Like that. He already has incredible speed, but when he has the spider sense on top of it, it makes him even more dangerous. Thanks to the spider sense on this occasion beating up these people without really consciously paying attention to it. Spider sense saved Stan Lee. Catches a football while in the middle of kissing, and does that. Fast enough to deflect rockets, showing that he has to be at least supersonic. Look at that. Speed. Really fast enough to catch a fly. Catches all these canisters while doing all of that. Agility, right? He avoided electricity, guys. That speed. Close range bullets is a joke. Like, he literally dodging them like it ain't nothing. That fast. Dodging automatic gunfire is nothing. Like, it literally shows in slow motion on purpose to show his level of speed. His best speed feat is one to save all these pedestrians from electricity before they can touch the rail. And they implied everybody to be slowed down compared to him. And Spider-Man's way over here. Kind of showing to be quicker than lightning. See what I'm saying? Insane speed. Like that. Respect it. Electro's characters can shoot actual electricity, by the way, man. And you know lightning or electricity can move at speeds going up to 224,000 miles per hour. That's literally making bullets look like slow motion. Spider-Man was able to save people from all this and dodge electricity on this level as well. Surrounded by a whole bunch of cops, he's too quick. They can't handle him in combat, hitting combos on all of them. Too much strength. Breaking the gun, just like that. Thanks with the help of his sweetie, Gwen Stacy in this occasion, was able to use his brain to channel all this electricity that he was shooting at Spider-Man. Yeah, by the way, Spider-Man was eating all this electricity, which is insane, durability-wise. Still able to connect it regardless of all of this. Feedback loop, basically, to blast them back like that, thanks to physics. Overloading him, brain to take on a very hard to beat being, a being made of electricity. Withstand being thrown through walls, showing his durability cracking the walls. He keeps on staying conscious, rips his tail off in the process. Close proximity explosions like that. It's hard to get a true limitation on what his true strength is because he doesn't have that many opportunities to display it, but I would say he can at least lift around the 25-ton range. I mean, we've never really seen him struggle to lift anything. Only people he struggled with was people that was on his level physically, but we didn't really see what their max lifting power was either. But this occasion with the bus should concrete his strength. Like, it was literally about to fall over. His feet caved in the ground and stopped it like that, with people inside of it, might I add. As you can see, he not only stopped this bus, but he stopped it from tipping over, showing he had to lift a piece of the weight to some degree. Even according to YouTubers like Comics vs. the World, they calculated that this amazing Spider-Man can lift 18.5 tons thanks to the same feat I just brought up. He calculated the force needed to do such a thing. So I wasn't too far off the 25-ton range. He's at least in the 18-ton range, probably in the 25-ton range. This didn't seem like this was a strain for him to do. You would have never guessed that this version of Spider-Man had feats like this. It's something that you could have easily brushed over and not paid attention to, showing his level of strength. I mean, he probably can hit harder than this because most folks, like me and you included, can punch harder than what they can lift. What if he can punch with 3 times his force? You know what I'm saying? This is the discussion nobody ain't trying to have, though. How strong is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, aka my childhood Spider-Man? The only difference between him and the common one is that he's not as gadget heavy in this universe. He has organic webbing built into his superpowers, kind of similar to characters like Silk, who has organic webbing as well and just can generate it out of his body, which is pretty freaking cool. During his battle with Green Goblin, he can pull down brick walls. He can rip machinery out of the walls. Of course, trying to save Doc Octopus. Rips. He literally digs into the glider. He can lift up several men with ease with his web pulling strength. These large cables he can rip out, of course. He ripped through Venom's web. Venom supposedly being stronger than him. Punch. Dodges too. caught this bag of gold, boom, threw this metal clock hand at Dr. Octopus, like that. Normal humans is a joke to him, fighting speed and strength-wise, strong enough to defeat a professional wrestler, no fighting experience, just completely outclass him in strength though. Punches through the roof of a car, implied to be able to dodge bullets as well, fighting speed, sending him fine with his punching power, light work, consistently matching beings on his level, like Dr. Octopus for example, so he can't fight people that have similar strength to him, like Green Goblin as well. Kicks away these metal hands of a clock, kicks Dr. Oct through a wooden floor, like that. Dodging attacks from Sandman, even sweeps his legs off. Sandman's really hard to fight, y'all. There's a point in the movies where he had the symbiote, where he got enhanced strength and speed, like this, fighting on par with Sandman. And this occasion implied to have the strength advantage. Like, he seemed like he had a gap against Sandman in this occasion. Look at that. Punch Sandman through a metal pipe. I mean, he even broke Harry's arm blade. He did trade blows with Venom this one time, though. You got to remember that. While falling, one of the best sequences right here, smacks Venom aside with his metal pole, like that. Being able to engrave these poles in concrete, look at that. Respect it. This big metal wall, he's strong enough to catch all of that, showing you his strength. Holds it for a bit, even strong enough to throw it away, even though the gravity was kind of helping him push it in. Snaps a man's wrist to hold on to a trolley full of kids. Web and grip combined. Probably one of his most flashy feats is him using his vice grip to literally stop a train. This did take everything he had though. He was tired afterward. Even fell out. Vice grip. Symbiote stuff aside, he's still ridiculously strong. I would even debate he has better flashy feats when he's not symbiotic in the movies. But here's the thing. Remember that opponent, Sandman, that was in Spider-Man 3? One of the beings he had to fight him and Venom at the same time in that final sequence? Remember when Sandman was amped and he absorbed a lot of sand and became like multi-stories tall or large? Yet, when Spider-Man attacked him, it implied his attack still kind of phased him, even in this large and thick and big state with a lot more mass. Like, people really don't pay attention to stuff like this, implied to still be able to harm him despite him being pretty much building-sized. He's taken several punches from Giant Sandman, not KO'd. Kind of showing a level of power. When it comes to calculating his strength, big YouTubers like Comics vs. the World, I highly recommend the channel by the way, has done calcs on what his max potential could possibly be. In his channel, he estimated Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man to be around the 13 tons level of raw like strength, lifting power, or whatever. But I would even argue that it's even higher than that based on his Sandman being able to take hits from Sandman and etc. I would argue his striking strength is way higher than his lifting strength. Like me and you included have higher striking strength than our lifting strength. So it only makes it fair for Spider-Man to be used as a benchmark for his punching power. Based on the fact that he can harm Giant Sandman, I would think at base he could lift an estimation of 25 tons at least, especially with that roof lifting feat and stuff like that. Remember that he can slug it out with characters that have durability enough to survive explosions. For example, like the New Goblin, for example, slugging out with him, this guy can survive explosions that these same bombs that, or the New Goblin uses, vaporized both of them. Ridiculous, isn't it? If we assume Spider-Man can punch 3 times or 2 times harder than what he can lift, just like in real life when their punches are, where human punches are tested, they can hit like triple the amount of weight they are, aka what they can lift. So it would actually make sense if Spider-Man had 75 tons of punching power based on his lifting feats and stuff, and the fact that he would be able to hurt a Giant Sandman that large without symbiote amp. Now, when it comes to speed, we already know he's freaking quick, partly thanks to his future sight, aka Spider Sense. It literally just did a straight up warning, kind of like omnipresent surrounding type things. So he would know to dodge at the last second, like that. And you can't even sneak up on him. Literally future sight warning him the tracks had a dead end. Talking about reflexes with Spider Sense, catches all the food perfectly. Humans are compared to him like pathetically slow. Of course the knife swings are too slow for him, dodging all of these blades from Green Goblin, like on some Matrix stuff. Doc Octopus tried to crush his head, but he's too durable. This same Doc Ock, not really much to say about his webbing, but he can choose to use web balls, kind of like on some boom, 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 like bullet volleying stuff. It did this to steel, like what? He did it to the steel without twisting it. He just ripped it apart. Spider-Man actually does overpower some of his villains on occasion, like Green Goblin beating him into submission. He's one of those characters where he could have more feats, but his series got limited. He only had like, 3 movies, while other Spider-Man like, Tom Holland has like a whole bunch of movies in the works with a whole bunch of different crossovers with a whole bunch of different types of characters. I think he's supersonic when it comes to speed, strength.
he should be able to punch with over maybe 75 tons of force or maybe even 100 tons of force based on his feats with lifting that giant roof and punching a giant Sandman. And he's able to harm beings like Harry, messed up when them bombs can incinerate normal humans. Heck, even incinerated Eddie Brock and even Venom when they were separated from each other. Even overpowering Green Goblin, stopping that train, and even more.
Tom Holland Spider-Man, how strong is he? He's in the early stages of development. He will probably get a lot more feats in the future, and he's probably nowhere near his full potential right now. If I'm keeping it all the way 100, out of all the live action Spider-Man, he's the most tech savvy Spider-Man. When I say tech savvy, I mean he has the most tech type stuff. Other Spider-Man, their universes didn't get developed as much, while the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse is like in the process of increasing as every movie goes on. I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just massive, has a ton of characters, introducing a ton of characters, and even the multiverse type stuff. So it only makes sense for Tom Holland Spider-Man to have all these resources. Even Venom is a part of the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse at this point. You know, he owns the homemade suit he made himself, Stark suit in Spider-Man Homecoming, which is super techy, the Iron Spider suit, and the funny part is these suits are not just one-off suits. He still owns most of these suits. The stealth suit he got in Spider-Man Far Far From Home, his supposed upgraded suits, which really didn't really have any new features, really, a new look. This universe's version of Spider-Man has some very good measurable feats though. He's smart enough to scientifically create his own web fluid, showing that he is indeed smart, by the way. There was actually a bunker he wasn't strong enough to break out of. Very secure place. He actually had to hack his way out. One of the few times you actually see a puzzle being happened in the movie. They also gave us a glimpse of what possible suits we could possibly see in the future. Hopefully we see some of these other ones, like the Iron Spider, like a comic accurate Iron Spider suit. Wouldn't that be epic? Use the Stark Tech to make another suit. A lot of this stuff was Stark Tech, but hey, he helped design the suit at least, right? Just like his comic self, he has spider sense. They never said the word yet, though. The best example of his spider sense, literally being able to see through an entire illusion. Destroying the drones with the strength, with his speed, agility, power, and etc. Hitting combos, doing epic stuff. Even illusions, he has reaction time. Spider sense. Of course he can wall crawl, right? His web is his main means of traversal, though. Makes him have really good maneuverability. And he uses web to capture criminals like Vulture. Thanks to Stark, he has a lot of web shooter combinations. Like he literally has spider tracers to trace the target that tries to get away. Literally world map, epic. He has web grenades, like that. Literally ricochet web to save an elevator, and strength to hold the elevator. Splitter web, curb stomping these guys. Y'all ain't ready. Taser web, fighting Vulture in the battlefield. To electrocute his suit like that, he even has rapid fire, webbing, literally manhandle Falcon with his web like that. This and that destroys some of Mysterio's drones. Don't you love that? Epic. He can lift a car in the air if he wants to. Yes, that's Peter Ridiculous Hat. He was able to support this collapsing bell tower, webs. Look at the part of a collapsing building he's able to support. I would even say his web is an extension of him. One can say his web is as strong as him. This high in the air, he prevented a jet engine from spinning, which is crazy. Look at that. His webs was able to hold a ferry together, web grenades and stuff, showing the strength of his web. This Stark Tech suit literally has a parachute. Drones he can shoot around to do reconnaissance. It can even be controlled with his phone. It can be used to scan an entire ferry. You see the big old ship, just scans the whole thing. Has an artificial intelligence named Karen. The artificial intelligence knows to target the strongest points, records everything Spider-Man sees, so he can replay stuff to do some detective work. And he can sprout little gliders to let Spider-Man glide through the air. Just like comics, it's implied he's stronger than super soldiers, but he got outsmarted by Captain America's experience. Literally trolls the Winter Soldier's punch, showing that he's in another league than super soldiers. Don't forget how strong super soldiers are in the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse. Just an example. Super soldiers in Marvel are no joke, and Spider-Man trolled super soldier tiers in strength, letting you know there's a gap between them. He supported all of this weight, a collapsed jet bridge. You get an idea of how big it is right here in this angle. That didn't stop him from catching it. Raw strength, baby. Even though War Machine got thrown real hard, Spider-Man turned this over trying to stop him. Throws a large object back at Winter Soldier, like that. Caught a speeding car that weighs 3,000 pounds by going 40 miles per hour. He lifts these lockers like it's nothing. Perfect hiding spot for his stuff. Reminiscent to his comic self, showing his willpower and determination. Lifting a whole bunch of debris off of him. He has some really flashy feats of strength. A lot of weight. Respect it. Ain't that epic?
Spider-Man can also dodge lightning from Electro, speed. This is the first movie where we've seen heroes have resistance to this little soul push thingy. He actually was able to counter this soul thing. Doctor Strange puts his soul out right here, and he was trying to grab this basket. Spider-Man was literally able to move this out of the way when Doctor Strange was trying to grab it in the middle of the movie. Watch the movie to see what I'm talking about. It's actually pretty insane. My theory is that it possibly has something to do with his precognition or spider sense, or it could be just the future of Marvel movies showing how other characters can possibly counter this soul push, because that's kind of like been his go-to hack. And maybe the Marvel Cinematic Universe wants to show that this soul pushing hacks isn't just going to work on everybody and be an end all be all, maybe, because I do think it's kind of like a cheat code. You know what I mean? I'm thinking MCU was pushing forward for the future of this being able to be countered. Maybe if certain heroes have a certain amount of willpower, maybe they can counter this soul push, you know, because they even did it the whole.
He even used his knowledge on science to even outwit Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension to web up and restrain Doctor Strange while even in the mirror dimension, using math equations to trap him like that to get the upper hand on Doctor Strange in this particular occasion. Took his sling ring and everything. Normal men have no match for his strength. Speed, combat, and etc. Too strong. They can't land a hit. He's so strong, he accidentally throws a motorcycle. He stopped a blow from Cole Obsidian. Like, what the heck? The same Cole Obsidian that got in a slugfest with the Hulkbuster armor. Even sends a car back to Cole Obsidian like that. While fighting Mysterio in this illusion, couldn't really figure out where he was at. Accidentally pulls down a crane, busts open a fire hydrant, breaks a lock with one hand. This collapsing bell tower, all he had to think quick to pull it back. Strong enough to charge out of a cargo container. Giant Man, who was hundreds of tons at the time, Spider-Man is strong enough to stagger here with his strikes. He was able to crack 4 inches of ballistic glass, letting you know, like that. He shattered Mysterio's helmet, stronger than Mysterio's drones. These drones ain't made of paper, guys. Letting you know his strength in the process. He can accidentally knock you out. That's how much strength he has. Concrete pillar he punches. Cracked it like that. Iron Spider suit is overkill. Fighter men ain't nothing to him. Why would y'all even try? Really? Spider arms? Y'all ain't ready. It's literally bulletproof. He literally survives being hit by a train. It knocks him out though. In physical attributes, Spider-Man being stronger than a super soldier in the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse or Universe is more impressive than you think, because that Captain America is stronger than characters like Deathlock. Look at what he's doing to the bulldozer.
Did I beat Captain America's time? Did I beat Captain America's time? Did I beat Captain America's time? Not even close.
That's letting you know how strong a super soldier in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. They could just literally pull bulldozers like this. This is still nothing compared to Captain America. Not even close, they said. Yet, when it comes to Spider-Man fighting super soldiers in strength contests, Captain America couldn't just outright overpower Spider-Man. Same with super soldiers like Bucky. Super soldiers can do stuff like this. I mean, this was calculated to be over hundreds of tons. The super soldiers in the cinematic universes are insane, but this is like nearing his limit. This was a struggle. Captain America ripped a wooden pile. So yeah, in a way, Captain America already has 100-ton feats in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Spider-Man has shown to be on their level or even better at a young age, inexperienced. He even debatably has 1,000-ton feats. This fairy is actually confirmed to be 3,000 tons. And he was able to slow it down. He wasn't able to actually pull it together, but he was able to slow it down with his raw strength. They're letting you know some right intent for him. Even Comics vs. the World did a calculation on this. Good YouTube channel, by the way. He calculated it to be 3,000 tons himself. And based on Gubbs' scene, he estimated that little, this scene of where this fell on him, Gubbs concluded that he withstood 81 million newtons of force. He said that's equivalent to 20 cars falling on top of you, based on that feat. Impressed with his strength yet? His Start Tech suit even has an instant kill mode, epic, stabbing multiple Outriders, even while being overwhelmed. The universe he in just complements his strength. He was a helpful asset in trying to restrain Thanos this particular occasion. See what I'm saying? Spider-Man in this universe has probably the best flashy feats when it comes to just measurable feats and stuff. Captain America in this universe is actually strong. The fact that Spider-Man is confirmed to be stronger than him, that's similar to comic lore. Everybody knows in comics Spider-Man is stronger than Captain America, so that's no surprise that they would copy that in the movies. Even characters that are not even on Captain America's strength level can move bulldozers. Captain America proved this with his feats that are better, like the helicopter feat and lifting this giant metal structure. The fact that Captain America couldn't just outright overpower Spider-Man, and the fact Bucky just could not overpower Spider-Man. This kind of all adds up to the lore of Spider-Man being stronger than a super soldier in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not to mention Spider-Man has caught a punch from Cole Obsidian, who slugs it out with Hulkbusters. I mean, heck, even Captain America without Mjolnir enhancements or one could say unworthy Captain America when he wasn't worthy. Obviously, Captain America isn't as strong as Thanos, but it's just moments like this to let you know how strong they are, though. I'm just saying, even though Thanos is a league stronger than Cap, but you get the idea. When it comes to his speed, it's rather simple. He's comparable in speed or greater than a lot of characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that are pretty quick. Spider-Man has fighting speed at least on par with characters like Bucky, or one could say even better because Bucky can dodge bullets. That's no surprise, right? So I would say he has to have faster than bullet reflexes at the very least. It's crazy to think that he's this strong. His movies are just in the beginning, really. He's like young.
But anyways, respect any of the Spider-Man. What do you think the future of the Spider-Man movies will hold? I'm personally down for a live-action Spider-Verse. Make it happen. That boy Daredevil showed up too. Get hype. Okay, I'll see you guys later though. Respect Spider-Man.